My name is Olga Anischenko. I was born in Ukraine. Both of my grandfathers were pastors of the church. I have 10 siblings and the best in the world, mother and father, Christian family. Happy childhood. When I was 14 years old, my family immigrated to United States of America for religion freedom. It was hard with limited English. I graduated high school. I graduated college. I got my associate's degree in business administration. When I was 19 years old, I met my husband. We got married. 10 years later, we had three beautiful children, good jobs, nice cars, beautiful house. One evening after a not a good experience at church, we kneeled to pray, and I heard my husband say, God, I'm very tired of being a lukewarm Christian. I want to have a personal relationship with you. Please send a situation into my life that can really show me who you are. I had goosebumps on my body. I just felt like something terrible was going to happen. But I loved my husband and I trusted him. And I thought, he knows what he's asking for. So since then, he really changed. He was like glued to the Bible, researching, asking questions. And I was very happy with changes I saw in my husband. On the other hand, I remember I injured my shoulders. In a year, I was going to lose a job. After I lost my job, we had to sell our brand new cars, and we were afraid we were going to lose our house. But luckily, God saved the house for us. So we struggled. At the same time, we were searching for God. And a few years later, it was 2 years later, I got pregnant with the fourth child. And since day one, it was a very hard pregnancy. And when I went to see the doctor, we had ultrasound to see if it's a boy or a girl. A doctor told me a very, very, very scary and sad news. He said, Olga, the left part of your baby's heart is not developing. He is not going to live. You have a choice to do an abortion or do three surgeries on your baby's heart, starting the day when he is born. And down the road, three specialists told us the same. I was a Christian. I could not do abortion. So the only hope we had was pray. So I called my father, I called my mother, everybody cried with me, everybody prayed with me. It was very, very hard and scary. And then I called my pastor and I said, can you please pray for us in church? And he said, yes, we will. And he said, can you guys please come? And we just want to talk to you. Come an hour before church. I want to talk to you. So I called my husband. We thought we were going for a prayer and oil anointing because I just knew that's what pastors do. If someone is ill, they anoint you with oil and they pray with you. But that's not what we got. What we heard was God doesn't give ill children to Christian families, and so you guys have sinned. Check your life. God is punishing you with an ill baby. That was the last thing I wanted to hear when I was already scared and devastated. I wanted my baby to live. So the long story short, the baby was born with 1% chances for life. He had 2 open heart surgeries. I was able to hold him, breastfeed him. He grew, he smiled. He was the beautiful baby on the outside, but his heart was very, very ill. After 2 open heart surgeries, the doctors told me he is not going to survive. You have to have a heart transplant. So that was the last thing I wanted to do because I didn't want to leave my house. I didn't want to leave my husband for a year. I didn't want to leave my kids for a year. My blood pressure was very, very high. But in order to help my baby, my fourth child, I had to drive 12 hours away from home from Washington State to California, live at the Ronald McDonald House, and wait for the heart to become available. And if you look at the situation from another side, it's another baby would have to get a brain damage. So her heart would still be beating. And if that ever happens, my baby would have a chance to receive a new heart. That was a terrible situation to be in, and I didn't want to make that next step. I was ready to give up, and we almost gave up, but luckily we changed our mind. And so finally, yes, we agreed to do the next step. I left my husband in Washington with kids. I flew to California. It was a hard walk through hell on earth. So our baby lived 7 months and 7 days, and God took him. Uh, if I would tell you every detail I've been through, I would probably be speaking for months. That's why next 7 years I was writing the book, which he called The Puzzle of Elijah. My neighbors, retired teachers, Ross and Sandy Hollisters, they promised to help me write a book. How it happened, one day Ross told me, it was just a few months after the funeral, and Ross told me, Olga, you have a choice to live in heaven on earth or in hell on earth. And it really depends on how you react to situation. So if you just say, God gave me the baby, God took the baby, but I'm still going to be happy and live for my other three children and husband, and you do your best to be happy, that's heaven on earth. But if you choose the other road and you said, oh, God is punishing me, I don't deserve it, it's everybody's fault, it's my fault, it's God's fault, and you're miserable, people around you are miserable, that's called hell on earth. I chose heaven on earth. The other thing Russ told me, Olga, write a book. We will help you. And if Ross knew it would take 7 years, I don't know if he would tell me the same. But they did help me for 7 years. It was about 3 days out of 7 in a week that I would go. We would talk for 3 hours with Ross, and he would read what I wrote, and he would ask me questions. He would say, Olga, you wrote this. How did you feel? And I would start telling him how I felt, and he would say, why is it not in the book? So I go back home, I add my feelings to the book. He said, Olga, when you were at the hospital and the doctors were ready to disconnect your baby's medications, and you asked your father to come, and he did come, and what he said, you did not listen, but you still asked him to come. Why did you ask your father to come and be there with you at the hospital? And I started crying, and I said, I just felt like a little girl. I wanted my father to be with me. Yes, I didn't listen to him. I agreed to do the heart transplant. I did the other choices, but I wanted my father to be there with me for support. So that was what Ross did for me. And I call him my mentor for 7 years. And going back, I forgot to tell you about another pastor in my life. And he was the one who told me, Olga, if you did not sin, stop asking God for forgiveness. He is preparing you for the ministry. He is going to use you to help other people. So today, I can tell you, you can kill people with your words, and you can really, really encourage and give them hope with your words. And the words of the second pastor are coming true today. And the reason I wanted to write the book is I wanted to give people hope. I wanted to tell you that God would never punish them. I wanted to help them understand each other. And I wanted to encourage them never give up. So 2018, my book is published. It was Very, very, very hard job for 7 years. At first, I did my book in English, then I translated it into Russian. 2018, at the same time when the book was published, I knew I was going to do something more. I had to tell the world about the book. I knew it was good, but it was a sad book. And why it took me 7 years? Because I didn't want to say the truth. I didn't want to say the truth about the pastors. I didn't want to say the truth about false prophecy. I was a nice person, but my neighbors would keep telling me, if you don't say the truth, no one needs your book. 7 years I was learning how to say the truth, even though I never lied, but I was learning how to speak up. I just wanted to help those people who were told that God is punishing you, who left the church once and forever, who left God once and forever, who could not forgive themselves. So the book is published, and I had an opportunity to be on a radio. Yes, I was very, very scared, but I had a little experience from before. From 7 years before, I was helping my Bible teacher. She was a women's leader, and I helped her for a few months. And I remember she said, Olga, you are very good at what you do. One day you're going to have your own radio program, and God is going to use you. So 7 years later, I had my own radio program. Yes, I was scared, but I did great. With people's help, I started and I did great, and I still do it today. I didn't know what to name my program, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But what I ended up doing, I would invite people, random people. I kind of knew a little bit about them, and I would say, can you please share your story, starting from the beginning? And where did you struggle? How God helped you? What lessons did you learn? And the reason I did that, because I wanted the listener, on another hand, to hear the story, to hear the struggles, to hear how God helped them. And I wanted to give the hope to the other people who are struggling. And so we still do the same radio program until today. And the name of it is Open Heart. A year later, I was asked to help a family in Russia to do a fundraiser on Facebook. They needed $5,000 to go to Israel and get medical help for this child who was miserable and struggling, very, very ill. At first, I didn't want to do it, but then when I saw his picture, it reminded me of my child, Elijah, who would have been the same age, but who was not with me. And I told myself, yes, I will help him. But when people donate money, they want the receipt so they could write it off, you know, during tax season. And I did not have a good experience with church when my brother wrote a check for $2,000 and he said, can you please get me the receipt? I need to write it off during tax season. And it took me two weeks or even more to get the receipt for him. It was a very complicated process. So I thought, I don't want to deal with the church. I'm just going to open a nonprofit organization so I have that tax ID number and I can give receipt to people. Of course, I didn't know how complicated it is to open the nonprofit, how much it costed, but I did. I registered it, I paid the fee, and then a few months later, I found a person who did this completely for me. Yes, it costed money, but I got everything right. We helped this family, and I was still doing the radio shows. Then I was asked to help to do a fundraiser for another family, and I had a full-time job. At the same time, about a year later, I started speaking at the women's conferences in churches, and that's another different story. That's a very complicated story. I knew churches, not every church would let me speak because I wrote the truth about the pastor in my book. I didn't say names, I didn't say the church's name, but I just shared the message he told me. I could not take that. And I wanted to share another message that God would never punish you. He loves you so much, and He is giving you this very, very hard school that prepares you for the ministry. So, 2019, that's where I go from church to church. Every other week, I speak in churches, I share my testimonies, I speak at women's conferences, and I even started charging. I was charging 250 bucks just so I could cover my gas and my expenses. Plus, I was selling my book. 2020, our friends moved to South Carolina from Washington, and we kind of started thinking maybe we should move. Maybe we should move. And but my son, he had a girlfriend at the time, and he would not move. He doesn't want to move. So um, we were not in a hurry, and I just thought I don't want to leave my kids here. So we kind of waited. So it was 2019. 2020, January 1st, 2020, I wake up and I tell my husband, so are we moving or are we not? And an hour later, we decided, yes, we are moving. At that time, my son broke up with his girlfriend. So we went to talk to children. An hour later, we decided, yes, we are moving. January 7th, we bought the tickets. January 10th, we came to South Carolina and we bought our house. March 1st, we were in South Carolina. And as we were driving, I got a text message from a girl. Her name is Maria. And she said, Olga, I heard your video and I was very touched by it. And I can't wait for you to come here. There are so many families with special needs children, and I would like to help them. So, what was the video about? A few months ago, I heard on Facebook that one mom had just gave birth to a disabled child, and she was a mess, and people were asking to pray for her. When I heard that, I just could not be quiet. I just felt it. I had to speak up. During the lunch hour, I went live on Facebook and I shared my story, and I named it Is an Ill Child Blessing or Curse from God? How to react when you hear from doctors that you are going to have an ill child. So I don't know if that mom has heard my story, but Maria heard my story, and her child at that point was 14 years old. He had a Down syndrome and autism. So she reached out and she said, I can't wait for you to come so we can serve Slavic families with special needs children in South Carolina, because Russian churches, for some reason, they're just not trained enough. They don't accept these families. They don't have any services, any support. And they teach that God is punishing you with an ill baby. So when I came, it was COVID time. And then in October, we finally met. And we decided to do the Christmas party for these families. We started with $0 in our pocket. We did not have a church. We did not have people. It was just two of us. So we would start going live on Facebook, and people started donating money so we could buy presents. And we started to reach, finding these families with special needs children. Maria's parents' church. They let us use their building and they helped us with dinner. So the Christmas party was very, very successful. It was a total of 70 people. We had food, we had families, we had presents. I felt like it was supernatural. It was very, very blessed. So that was January 9th of 2021. Yes, just a few months ago. Today is August, 8 months ago. At the same time, as we are preparing for the Christmas party, we get together at the coffee shop. Other moms come and join us. We did support groups every Thursday. At the time, I shared my vision for the center of support and encouragement. And Maria was like, yes, Olga, we are going to have a center and we will be successful. And when we decided to open the center. And I didn't tell you that when we were going to South Carolina, I asked my husband, can I not work for 2 years so I can really establish my ministry? So I wasn't working, and I had no money. Maria was barely working. She had a disabled child. Women who joined us, they were moms. They were not working. We had no money, but we wanted to open a center of support and encouragement. At the same time, as we were talking about the center, God sent this mom to us. She had 11 children, but she was the Russian store owner, and she had business knowledge. So she was like, yes, 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 we need to find the center. We started looking for the building. And of course, we like the building, but who is going to give you a loan, even you don't have credit history? So at the same time as we found the building and we really wanted to get it, my sister from Washington goes through a job interview. She gets a job in South Carolina, and they are moving. They are moving to South Carolina, and her husband, with his uncle, is buying the building we were looking at to use for the center. So God opened the door for us. And so my brother-in-law, he remodeled it, and he said, would you like to rent it? Of course we wanted to rent it, but how are we going to pay for the rent? With the bills, it would be about $2,000. But we still agreed that yes, we are going to rent the center. So he's remodeling, and I'm going through a lot of stress. I'm like, God, what am I doing? I am a leader now. People are relying on me, people are counting on me. I don't have any money. How am I going to pay bills? What if nobody needs the center? What if my team is going to leave me? And I remember one day I was really, really, really crying, and I was very scared. I remember I got on a treadmill, and I was like, I'm gonna walk my stress off. So as I'm walking, I look to the side, and then I see the John Maxwell book, How Successful People Lead. I bought that book a year ago when we were flying to South Carolina to buy a house. I bought it at the airport. It was very interesting to me. And so this day, when my legs and hands were shaking from fear, I looked at the book, and then I was like, okay, I wonder if John Maxwell has YouTube videos. So since that day, and I think it was like December 2020. Since that day, I listened to John Maxwell every single opportunity I had. I was driving, I would listen to him. I was exercising, would listen to him. And then I saw his advertisement on Facebook to become John Maxwell team member and certified coach, speaker, and trainer. So I signed up. Yes, it was expensive. Yes, I used my credit card. Yes, I had no time to study, but I did my best. I was supposed to be certified in March of 2021, but when we got the building on June 1st, we entered the building, and July 29th we had a grand opening. That's when I realized I need my certification as soon as possible. So I paid off the balance, and I came to be certified as a coach, speaker, and trainer to John Maxwell Conference. I came on August 30th, 2021. And yesterday I was certified. And the day before, that's when I met Bart. And that's when he told me, tell Roddy that I think you're a good speaker to be on the stage in March. I know I've come the long way, but I still have a lot to study and learn. I know I am a leader, and I know God is going to raise many, many leaders through me, and He already is. But I do have a story, and I know my story is powerful, Even though I've been speaking for 3 years, even though I've been on the radio for more than 3 years, I know I still have a long way to grow and a lot to learn. I had people who sowed the seed in me, and today I want to sow that seed to others. I'm really thrilled and excited that John Maxwell team exists, and now I'm part of it. Thank you. God bless. Bye bye.